In this video, let's see how to create a nested list with the elements that we have already learned about. So in the previous video, we learned about UL, OL, and LI. And actually, you do not need to know any more elements. So let's take a look. With just these elements, we can create additional nested list. So let's say if you want to create a nested list inside this particular option or this particular item, all right? So this is the item over here. We can simply create another list just right here. So I can simply say UL and then LI and sub list here, and I can create another option here, which is another item, second sub item. Save, refresh, and you see these are the sub items. And the trick was to put the new list inside this particular li that you wanted in. Now, you don't have to have it the same format. You can actually have it as an OL as well. So I can simply convert this to an OL, and this will be numbers. And if I want to change the type, I can simply say type over here on this particular OL and say type needs to be I, and I is going to be the Roman numbers. All of this is documented, the documentation on the Mozilla website. Now, if you want a sub list, you can actually put a list inside here as well. So let's say if you want a list, let's say inside the second sub item, you go to the second sub item and you actually create a list inside that element. So that's the first child, and you can create a second child, which is, let's say, a UL, and inside another list item, which is sub list, and make one more of that, and make one more of that. Save, refresh, and you see there's a sub list. And these formatting that you're noticing is automatic by the browser. We don't control it. We want to control it. If we want to control it, we can simply come in over here and say type is equal to, let's say, circle. All right, save, refresh, and these are circles. But by default, the browsers already have a preset default, and it's going to automatically make the different levels of the list items at different icons or different labels. Now, one last thing that I want to share with you is, let's say if you do not want these bullets and you just want the list to be, standard. For that, we will have to learn CSS, and we're going to cover that in a later video when we get to the CSS section. Removing these bullet points is not possible in a healthy way with just HTML. For that, we're going to learn that in the CSS section. With that, you learned about making list and sublist and sublist, and you can just go infinity with that. And with that, we're done with the list section, and I'm going to talk to you in the next video. Now, one last thing I want to tell you is that you really want to go to the Mozilla documentation and study that. So I'm going to go to Mozilla UL reference, and you really want to go and play around with the different attributes that you have. So play around with the type and compact and read what's mentioned over here. Do the same for LI section, UL section, and the rest of the sections that we have as well. So you can simply go to HTML reference Mozilla, go to that URL, this first one is the right one, and you read the different references that you have. Actually, this is the right one. So you read the multiple elements that we have and what properties you can have with that. So with that, that's your homework. Do that, play around with it, enjoy it, have fun. And the way to learn is actually to apply it to your code and see what happens in the browser. Try it with try it with Chrome. What happens? Try it in Internet Explorer. See what happens. See how different browsers react to the same code that you have. That's something to learn about that you can play around with. So with that, I'm going to leave you with this particular homework, and I'm going to talk to you in the next video. Please do the homework, okay? Talk to you next.